Emily's fingers hovered over her keyboard, the sterile glow of her monitor reflecting in her tired eyes. Across her desk sat a framed photo of her mother, a reminder of the mounting medical bills that had turned her once stable life into a high-wire act. For 3 years, she'd clung to her role as a data analyst at Nexacorp's regional office, mastering the labyrinthine software known as Eclipse, a program so complex it required a 6-month certification even the company's IT team avoided. Now, as she sipped lukewarm coffee and reread her resignation email, she wondered if loyalty had blinded her to the cracks in the system. Her supervisor, Rachel, had always been a fortress of calm, until today, when Emily handed over her 2-week notice, Rachel's smile faltered. "Headquarters won't take this well," she'd muttered, her gaze darting to the quarterly reports stacked like a funeral pyre on her desk. Nexacorp's mismanagement had bled into their region for months. Delayed resources, unrealistic deadlines, and a hiring freeze that left Emily's team drowning in work. Yet it was the voicemail from her mother's hospice nurse that finally tipped the scales. "We need to discuss payment options," the voice had said, polite and unyielding. Emily couldn't afford to stay in a job that treated her like a replaceable cog. What she hadn't anticipated was being escorted out the same afternoon. "It's corporate policy," HR explained briskly, avoiding her eyes as they handed her a cardboard box. Jack, her cubicle neighbor and the team's dry-witted project manager, nearly spilled his coffee when he saw her packing. Sarah, the junior analyst Emily had mentored through panic attacks and midnight deadlines, froze mid-sentence in a Slack chat. "You're leaving now?" she whispered, her voice brittle. The guilt gnawed at Emily, but Rachel's clenched jaw in the hallway told her this wasn't a choice. Headquarters had struck fast, severing ties before she could finish documenting Eclipse's workflows. That night, Emily sat in her car outside the office, watching rain blur the Nexacorp logo into a smear of red. Her phone buzzed, a LinkedIn message from a recruiter at a tech startup. "Heard you're the Eclipse whisperer. Let's talk." She deleted it. The company's proprietary system was her golden handcuff. Outside these walls, her expertise meant nothing. At the office, chaos erupted. A client deadline loomed. Vortex Logistics needed a custom report built in Eclipse by Friday, or Nexacorp would lose a $2 million contract. Jack, now thrust into Emily's role, stared at her hastily written notes like they were hieroglyphics. "She said the metadata has to sync with the API before running the algorithm," he groaned, dragging a hand through his hair. Sarah, juggling her toddler's daycare calls and a crashing test server, snapped, "What's the point? HQ's probably outsourcing us anyway." Rachel, meanwhile, fought her own battle. In a clandestine Zoom call with regional managers in Chicago and Austin, she discovered Emily's termination was no anomaly. "They're cutting redundant roles to cut costs before the merger," hissed Mara from Austin, whose entire team had been dissolved the week prior. "They're betting we'll quit before paying severance." Rachel's stomach churned. She defended Nexacorp for years, brushing off Emily's complaints as burnout. Now she drafted an email to the CEO and deleted it 3 times. Emily's absence became a ghost haunting the office. The Eclipse for Dummies guide she'd started collected dust on the server, half-finished. A consultant named Derek arrived, all sharp smiles and buzzwords, but even he floundered. "This code base is unique," he admitted, retreating to the break room. Then Sarah stumbled onto something. Buried in Eclipse's source code, a backdoor labeled Project Phoenix. A quick search revealed a beta software Nexacorp had been developing for months, a cloud-based system to replace Eclipse entirely. "They're sunsetting Eclipse next quarter," Rachel confirmed, her voice hollow. Headquarters had hidden the rollout, leaving regions to crumble under the old system while the new one was staffed with contractors. Emily, it turned out, had been set up to fail. The team rallied in secret. Jack hacked into Phoenix's test environment. Sarah reverse-engineered the API protocols, and Rachel leaked the project details to the Austin office. By Thursday, regional managers were comparing notes, uncovering a pattern of deliberate neglect. "They're trying to push us out," Rachel realized, to reset salaries with cheaper hires. Emily, oblivious, faced her own reckoning. A temp agency offered her a gig at half her old pay. Desperate, she nearly took it until her phone rang. "It's Sarah. We need your help." In a cramped coffee shop, the team laid bare Corp's scheme. "They're gaslighting an entire workforce," Rachel said, sliding over a thumb drive. "Phoenix's code is a mess. If we can prove it's unstable, we might force them to delay the rollout or negotiate severance for everyone." Emily hesitated. Helping them meant diving back into the chaos she'd fled, but the photo of her mother burned in her pocket. What's the plan? The next 48 hours blurred into a digital heist. Emily decrypted Phoenix's error logs, exposing a flaw that could corrupt financial data. Sarah mobilized a grassroots Slack channel, uniting employees across 3 time zones. Jack played double agent, feeding Derek false updates while Rachel documented everything for the labor board. On Friday morning, as Vortex's deadline expired, Corp's CEO received 2 emails, one notifying him of the lost contract, another from Rachel's coalition demanding accountability. By noon, the news hit Forbes. Corp's Phoenix project plummets amid employee revolt. Emily's phone lit up, not with job offers, but with requests for interviews. "You've started a movement," a journalist wrote. She ignored them, focusing on the quieter victory, a voicemail from the hospice. "We've approved your payment plan." In the end, Corp delayed Phoenix's launch and offered buyouts. Rachel took hers and joined a nonprofit advocating for workplace transparency. Jack and Sarah jumped to a competitor that valued cross-training. Emily, meanwhile, accepted a role at a remote-first startup, one that paid her to mentor others in moving beyond systems like Eclipse. Months later, she received a postcard from Rachel. "Funny, isn't it? They called us replaceable, but some cracks run so deep they break the whole foundation." Emily taped it beside her mother's photo. For the first time in years, she felt unafraid of the future. The corporate machine had tried to erase her. Instead, she'd rewritten the rules, one line of code, one truth at a time.